told me, I won't tell you because you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, but I was there. I was right there with them. Different. You know, we weren't sitting in a cafe in some city trying to open some horrible old can of worms. This was right there while it was going on. It wasn't really until after I came home and had written 2/3 of the book that the so-called reality of what I'd been through started to really make itself dreadfully apparent to me. You know, a lot of journalists think, oh, I'm a war correspondent, and I'm here on this side of the line, and that's going on over there on that side of the line, and I'm an observer. I'm not even part of this. I'm just watching. It doesn't work that way. You know, that line is a complete concept that people draw to protect themselves. But in fact, they're as much involved in what's going on as, you know, the killer and the killed. It was real. It wasn't just some film.
But do you think we need fiction more than reality to...
I don't hold a brief necessarily for either. You know, I mean, I don't know the difference. I've never known the difference. I have to tell you, and I have no idea what that difference really consists of between fact and fiction. I think it's really confusing. I'm confused. I'm really confused. It's like you read a memoir, you read an autobiography. I have no idea what's real and what's invented and what's wish fulfillment and what's confession. And you know, my first operation, I was in a helicopter that received ground fire, and someone was killed sitting across from me. He began bleeding, and I was in complete denial and in complete shock. It was like, you know, I'd been drugged or slugged or somehow rendered semi-conscious, and I was like I was looking at it from the wrong end of a telescope almost. Like it was very far away, very distant, had nothing to do with me. It really took me many times out to stop, to lose that feeling that I was somehow watching a movie, or I was in a movie, I was in some, you know, some media event, but certainly it wasn't real. You know, you see what you want to see. You see it the way you want to see it. You see what you can bear to see. You see what you can handle. It took a long time for me to be able to feel that it was quite okay to have seen what I saw. Nothing personal. In spite of the incredible media apparatus that was set up in Vietnam and the total freedom they had to cover the war, that somehow some essence of that experience wasn't being communicated. People just got burned out. People here at home, every night, the same footage while they're having dinner. They became completely inured to the sight of, you know, of war.
There was one event that I will never forget. She was a lieutenant for the NVA, and she, First Marine Division, and Quantry captured her. And we went to pick her up. After 3 months that she was in a compound, she was very quiet. She never talked to nobody. But it was her turn to go into the intelligence office. So I remember I was on duty, and they called me, bringing I don't remember her name. And I took her over there. And there was 2 officers for the South of Vietnam and 2 Americans, Navy guy, officers for intelligence. And I had to stay there, me and another friend of mine, until they finished the questions. Like I said, she didn't want to talk. And I knew when we took her over there that she wasn't going to say anything, because she didn't even talk to the other prisoners. We used to go feed her a breakfast, give her a breakfast, give her a lunch, and that lady won't eat. That lady won't even talk to nobody there. So I knew she wasn't going to talk. So when we took her there, about an hour, they got tired of asking her questions. They took her to the back of the building. They had a big power booster, and they had 2 plugs in each of the end of the power booster. They took that lady's clothes off. Once they did that, I told her, I asked them what the hell they was going to do. I thought they was going to rape her or something like that. But if they was going to do that, I was ready to tell them, well, let me go. I'm not going to stay here, because I'm not going to watch you doing this. You know, that was against my principle. You know, it's all right if I had to kill somebody because they're going to shoot me. But me stand there and watch them do that, I don't think so. So they called the company commander, my company commander. So I got on the phone, and the company commander told me, no, you got to stay there. But they didn't rape her. You know what they did? They put a cable through her mouth and another cable through there. And when they plugged that, all that electricity, that lady was bleeding to her eyes, to her nose, to her mouth. Every little hole she had in her body was bleeding to it.
So that shot, the rest there, and they asked many questions, so that some people were very hard, they have to talk. But most of them never talk, they keep quiet until that.
They took those 2 cables out, and they keep asking questions. And then when they put that thing again, that lady was dead. I never forget the way the look that lady was giving me, like helping me, like, please help me. You know? And ever since, even when I was in Vietnam, I used to think about that lady, you know. What a waste of life, you know.
Adjustments, you know, with your perceptions to make allowance for the really unbearable reality of what we're capable of and the kind of pleasure that a lot of people get from guys were sociopaths, psychotics. I don't know. It looked like they were. But you read it in the book and you're moved by it, or you're excited by it, or you're turned on by it. Doesn't mean you really believe it's people really do it. And then you see that they do. And it's,
Don't you think it's right to believe that we are all capable of it? If you're in the right situation, if you're in the war?
I don't know if it's right to believe it, but my experience indicates to me that that's the truth. If you'd spent any time, more than a few days with the unit, people would come around and talk to you. And they would tell you stories that, frankly, some of them I wish I never heard. I really wish I hadn't heard them. A lot of it was just teenage bravado. And a lot of it was really from the heart. Because these guys found something that they felt they were really good at and that they were meant to do. And maybe they were born to do it, get it out of their system.
They called me Maggot. My nickname was Maggot because I was little and white. Yeah, I had to prove myself. I was the smallest guy in the company. Sometimes there was conflicts amongst the company, and most of the time there wasn't, because we was all out there to do the same thing.
But did it gain you a lot of respect to be a tunnel rat?
Yeah. That's probably what I done, because there wasn't very many people could do it.
So why did you want to go to Vietnam?
Well, my father had been a World War II veteran, and my brother was in Vietnam, and I couldn't let him outdo me. There was sort of a conflict between me and my brother of who was better at what. And I had to go because he was over. There wasn't no way around it. I quit high school and went.
Were you jealous of him?
Yeah.
But jealous of what?
They was always saying how proud they was of him and stuff like that, and I never got no recognition for things I'd do, even at school. I never got no recognition. They don't want to know the real me. They want to know the Billy that was there before, and he's not there.
What happened to him?
He died in Vietnam.
But what kind of Billy was that?
Evil. The real reason they don't want to hear the story is because most of them's too gross. They think too gross, I don't want to hear that, It bothers them. They might have a dream about it. Every kill you made seemed like it made you feel a little better. In other words, there was a place that it sort of cheered you up to a certain extent. I mean, you didn't jump up and down or, with joy and all this, but it was a place in your heart that it just made you feel good.
Could you compare it to anything?
Sex. And that sounds bad. That sounds bad because, can I say this on camera? Sex is such an enjoyable thing. You take it and you compare it to killing somebody, and having the same feeling. And that's where you's at.
And that's why you do it every time.
Yeah.
How many people did you kill?
36.
And how did you keep count?
Cutting their ears off.
What did you do with them?
You know your shower rods that have the metal clips on them that look like a keychain? Kept them on them, hooked them on your belt loop.
Why did you take them? Was it like a trophy?
Yeah. You could show them off. Look how many I got, you know.
And what would their reaction be?
Some people thought it was sick, grotesque, gruesome. They felt like you was dead already, you didn't have a heart.
What did you do with it?
Hmm.
What did you do with the ears?
They took them away in customs. Or I'd still have them and I could have brought them with me. It was a sense of satisfaction, too. You could look at them and think, yeah, there's that many out there that ain't going to be out there no more. Our company had the highest body count in the battalion. Excuse me.
But can you imagine that I could be able to do it? I could become a killer?
Sure.
How?
By doing
If I would be in that situation,
it, yeah.
It's not so hard.
All you got to do is pull the trigger. Gun does the rest. There was two sides to every person over there. You had good times. You had time to relax, to be yourself, what you thought was yourself. But still hidden inside of you was that killer instinct. You could turn and do it in a minute. Well, once you seen a lot of your buddies blowed in half and killed and stuff, I started drinking a lot. Carried a fifth of whiskey with me all the time. And I carried at least a pound of pot with me. Wasn't supposed to have any of that. But I smoked it on the trail. No, everybody did. A lot of guys shot up with heroin, coke. Every guy that used different narcotics made him able to do his job a little better, because everything didn't work for the same person. And a lot of guys could smoke pot and it'd make them paranoid. Well, me, it made me want to go.
I saw sometimes that when you kill people, you put playing cards on them.
Yeah,
Why?
ace of spades. We'd cut their head off and put it on a bamboo pole and put ace of spades up there. 9 chances out of 10 when you'd done that, the goose wouldn't come back to that area. It was something religious. It wouldn't come back to that area.
Was it like a ritual?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird's a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird, bird. A bird's a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird's a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird, bird. A bird's a winner. Well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is a winner. Well, a bird, bird. A bird's a winner. Well, everybody's heard about the bird.
That machete I got at home that I customized, I've cut many a head off with that. That's why it means so much to me. after a while, after about a month of seeing combat, it became natural. You know, it was a natural thing to do. I had a sergeant tell me when I first come over here, they call you green seed. He told me, stick with me. And he said, I'll teach you the ropes and you'll make it home. So I stuck with him. I seen things he done that I thought were wrong. But I thought if this is the way I got to stay alive, so be it. And I done what he said, and I made it home.
But you made it home because you stepped over the line of
Yeah. I swore I'd never do that. Made a promise to myself I'd never step over the line, but I did.
Is it easy?
Yes and no. It comes very natural. It's just a little step further, you know, just a hair, you know. It was like there was the right and there was the wrong, but it didn't seem like the wrong was that far away from the right. So I stepped over the line, and it didn't feel no different. I've often wondered if I'd go to hell. And friends have told me, no, you won't, because in the Bible it speaks of wars. So.
What do they say about it?
I'm not sure.
That it's all right?
In the times of war, you won't go to hell. But I think for some of the cruel things I've done, that I will.
And you wrote in dispatches that one night you had to cover some soldiers and you had to fire a gun, and it made you feel alive. You know, you said war is a fantastic opportunity.
Yes. And, you know, I can't deny it. And I can't feel bad about it. It's not possible for me to locate some, you know, feeling that, my God, I shouldn't have felt that way.
But that's what religion does to us, the Christian religion. You're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to kill. I mean, there are no subsidiary clauses to the Ten Commandments. You know, it says, thou shalt not kill, you know, see paragraph 12. You're not going to find the dispensation for those commandments. So I would have to say that, you know, the Judeo-Christian system is, to put it kindly, flawed. It's, you know, it's a structure built on terrible hypocrisy.
But what happens to us if we don't know what's good and bad? We're lost.
Well, I mean, these are always personal and private areas, you know, where the inquiries have to be individual inquiries. And we live in society. And, we're very often, you know, our personal inquiries are overwhelmed by the requirements of the society. I mean, this is like basic, you know, this is, you know, so basic as to really not require talking about it, but just in case someone's forgotten, you know, that we have our private agendas, and often those private agendas include, you know, questions of conscience and procedure, and there's no latitude in the social arrangement for that sort of thing. So it's, you know, if there's a war on, young men are expected to go and fight and kill and die. You know, and with young men, there's always, it's fascinating, it's interesting. I mean, it's one of the great cliches of war literature, you know, the young man full of piss and vinegar, ready to get into combat and prove his gallantry and his courage and make his family proud and his community proud. And they go and they see what it is, and it's too late.
Did it help you trigger your dark side?
You're never far out of touch with it anyway there, you know. I was an educated guy. I'd read Jung and Freud, and, you know, I was vaguely conscious of those hidden pools, you know, racial memory and collective consciousness and all of that stuff, you know. But if you're going to subscribe to the collective consciousness, and I would encourage people to do that, you've definitely got to co-subscribe to the collective unconsciousness. Because that's where the real shit is going on. And if it isn't, if you're not conscious of it, it will express itself in really awful ways.
Knapperton.
Nothing is more powerful in your mind. And if what's going on, commencing in your mind, is obscure, dark, and you're unaware of it, it's going to slip out as action. And it will be violent action, you know. Whatever you tell yourself you're doing. It's very primitive that the most extreme act of power is to take another life, people think. I mean, that's a belief in the subconscious.
Where does it come from?
I don't know. It comes from racial memory. It comes from some kind of habitual mind. We do seem to know things in common that goes way, way back. You know, every time a couple of kids flip out and try to kill everyone in their high school, these anchormen who are getting paid many millions of dollars a year come out, and the best they can do is say, why did this happen? How could this happen? They know. They know how this can happen and why it happens. And if they don't know, they really shouldn't be in those jobs. But the pathetic thing is that they do know how it happens. We all know how it happens.
This is what I always said, like you put yourself in his position at that time and place, and how do you know? How can anybody know how you would react?
So it's purely coincidence if you become a killer or not?
Well, I mean, who knows? How do you know you yourself will not have pulled that trigger? How do you know? So it's easy to condemn people. This is why I always say pictures do lie. They only tell half-truths. Great. Yes.
If you have a kind of a politically, socially liberal agenda, you're likely not to look at this. You're likely to assume that you don't feel that way, without ever suspecting that you have that capability in you. People would be shocked to learn what they're capable of. They're just very lucky that the circumstances of their lives have never put them in a position where they have to act it out. So they never get in touch with it. And it just keeps bubbling along there. Would look as though we are predators, that we are natural-born killers. And I'm not certain that we are. Any more than the imperative to reproduce necessarily makes us a race of lovers. But war is very beautiful outside of some kind of comfortable moral context. People get very confused. They think that you're saying war is good without reminding them that war is bad. It's no good. You can't. War is definitely bad. It's not. It's not definitely bad. It's not particularly good. It has many, many elements, many flavors. So people who have moral certainties, I wouldn't presume that they're not at least as confused as you and I. They have a cover that says they're not confused.
I still dream of Vietnam. I still want to go there. But I don't want to return the way they're going over there now. I want to go back over to kill.
Why?
I miss it. I've never found nothing like that. But yet they put us out there to do that, and then they bring you home and they expect you to act like normal people.
I mean, you think people really give a shit? People don't really give a shit anyway.